Okay, in the previous part, I took you through Jeremiah chapter 50 and Jeremiah chapter 51. So after reading through those two chapters, it's abundantly clear that in them Nebuchadnezzar is actually identified as the final king to shatter the power of the Jewish nation at the end of this age during the tribulation period. Here's that verse again. Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 17. For Israel is like a sheep who has scattered. The lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria has devoured him, and then, last of all, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, broke his bones. Now, to gain further insight into this particular subject, we need to go back in time to the beginning. After the Israelite exodus from the land of Egypt, Israel became a great nation settled into their newly founded land. However, over the course of time, they began to turn away from Jehovah, their God, transgressing his laws, committing great iniquities. So, as a punishment for this, God allowed numerous foreign kings to conquer and enslave Israel throughout the years. I have listed these kings for you on the next page. Kings who conquered Israel. First, Tiglath-Pileser III of the Assyrian Empire. Second, Shalmaneser V of the Assyrian Empire. Third, Sargon II of the Assyrian Empire. Fourth, Sennacherib of the Assyrian Empire. Fifth, Nebuchadnezzar II of the Babylonian Empire. Sixth, Pompey of the Roman Empire. Okay, as you can see from the list here, Nebuchadnezzar was the fifth king to shatter the power of Israel. However, the Bible verse I showed you earlier tells us that he will be the last king to shatter the power of Israel. But according to ancient history, it is a fact that General Pompey of the Roman Empire shattered the power of Israel many years after Nebuchadnezzar. So what does this mean exactly? As I have already explained with evidence, Nebuchadnezzar will return at the end of the current age we are living in. He will seize total control of Israel. This will make him the last king to conquer Israel, which will prompt the immediate return of Jesus Christ, who will completely obliterate him. Therefore, It is important to bear in mind that the Bible verses contained in Jeremiah chapter 50 and Jeremiah chapter 51 also focus extensively on the prophesied complete permanent destruction of Babylon, which, as I am explaining to you here in 2019, has not yet taken place. It is clear that these two chapters describe end-time, last days events, and King Nebuchadnezzar is slap bang right in them. In fact, he is even mentioned by name in them multiple times. So, if the Bible verse shown earlier, Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 17, actually names Nebuchadnezzar as the final king to shatter the power of the Jews, then he has to be the forthcoming Antichrist. It is basic common knowledge amongst Christians that the Antichrist is a character who will appear during the end times. It is also basic common knowledge amongst Christians that the Antichrist will be the final king to shatter the power of the Jews just before the return of Jesus Christ. So, after taking into consideration the evidence presented, it is perfectly logical to assume that the verses contained in Jeremiah chapter 50 and chapter 51, shown earlier, are describing future events scheduled to take place during the 7-year tribulation. They also tell us that the combined armies of Russia, allied with various EU nations, will launch a huge ground invasion into the ancient land of Babylon against Nebuchadnezzar Reborn and his Islamic armies. Here's the verse again. Jeremiah chapter 50 verses 41 to 43. Behold, an army is coming from the north, a great nation, and many kings are being raised up from the ends of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and without mercy. They shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one in battle formation, like a man to the battle, against you, O daughter of Babylon. For the king of Babylon has heard the report about them. His hands become limp. Fear takes hold of him, with pain, like a woman going into labour. Okay, so after examining many of the Bible verses shown in this video, including those provided in part 4, it is crystal clear that at the end of the current age we are living in, Babylon in Iraq will be completely and permanently destroyed. In fact, its destruction will be so extreme that humans will never be able to visit or live there ever again. This has to be a future end of days event. But how do I know this? Because right now, here in 2019, the land of Babylon in Iraq is not completely and permanently destroyed. Instead, it is only partially ruined, but still visited by tourists on a regular basis. Therefore, after carefully reviewing the staggering amount of evidence presented in this video, my final conclusion is that the Bible clearly identifies King Nebuchadnezzar as the forthcoming Antichrist. He is the Islamic Isa mentioned in the Quran, who will be the final king to enslave Israel just before the return of Jesus Christ at the end of the age. Thanks for listening.